episode is brought to you by A3, a CMMC cloud-based collaborative environment for an organization seeking certification, otherwise known as an OSC, to build CMMC packages and share with a marketplace of consultant RPOs and assessor C3PAOs. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 123 CMMC. My name is Dana Mantilia, and I will be your host today. And our guest is the very famous Alex Blanc, who is a vCISO. We are very excited to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Alex. I see you all over LinkedIn all the time.
Yes, I'm very happy to be there. LinkedIn is my favorite place to spread awareness and try to make the situation quite a bit better. We were speaking about a little bit, like you do, although I'm targeting more technical people usually, like, the CISO landscape and trying to raise discussion. And I learned a lot as well during this, so this is good. And today is a nice opportunity because we're going to speak, more like high level. About our world and what is happening and what could go wrong, actually.
Exactly. So today we're going to talk about XDR, Extended Detection and Response. And let's start off with first explaining what exactly does that mean?
This is great. Yeah. So everybody knows what's an antivirus on the computer. It's supposed to catch the bad programs and stop it. So basically, because the threat landscape, the bad guys did evolve super quickly as much as the technology went, that we did need something smarter and more adjusted to the technology to be able to catch the wrong behavior. So basically, XDR is kind of an antivirus on steroid. It can just see and find what is weird on the machine that should not happen, more than just sign, signature, or stuff matching. So it's kind of an advanced solution that covers the whole scope of the endpoint. I hope that's going to make it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So this is something that gets installed on each of the devices. Is that what you do with it?
That's right, yeah, like workstation, desktops, servers, laptops, etc. So anything connected, so they can actually be monitored and checked and stopped the threat when they reach any of these. Because as we know, and we spoke about, the user is the main target of the attacker, because he is not, a cybersecurity guy. And even cybersecurity people, we sometimes fall for things. So the click me, open the attachment stuff, this is always starting with the endpoint and the user. So that software is the last line of defense, weirdly, that should protect and stop the entry point from the endpoint. So laptop, any device that the user actually have in the hands.
So you put this in addition to antivirus, or
actually, it does replace because they come with the antivirus feature as well.
Okay.
This is usually a hole-in-one, and it's packed with a service attached, because antivirus was running on its own, updating the signature and stuff. The XDR is backed with a security operations center, so if something wrong is happening, you can have a backup, by a team behind that actually help you stopping the threat on the machine.
Is this new? Is it like a new thing? How new relative?
No, well, a couple of years. It's around for a couple of years. It's still innovating pretty quickly, especially in the way it's detecting the threat. It's adjusting to the threat themselves, because the threat do not stop evolving. They want to target and catch more people. So the tool themselves evolve to adjust to the threats.
Okay, all right. So now, speaking of the threats, what is the threat landscape that's out there?
Yes, so why are we a target? Because they do target big corporation, but as individual, people do not see their value. And you have a lot of value. Your identity as part of your citizen of the US, of Canada, as myself, we have a value because our identity. It means you have a passport, you have a credit rating, and everything. So that's what attackers and criminals are looking after. So who is after you? Individual hackers, attackers, bad guys, criminals. Black hat, people that turn on the bad side of things and want to steal money, steal your ID. The end is always, either money or power, influence. So basically stealing your stuff to use it and get more power or money. And also transnational criminal organization that go massively against a lot of people. They shoot wide, especially with the ransomware growth, because there is no small target. Like an individual, we pay $500 to get his system unencrypted. That's money they make at a large scale. So we should never pay. Never pay criminal. Don't finance a crime. It's a bad thing to do. Always have backups. Backups on the external hard drive. If you are just a person like on your own with your machine, keep a hard drive outside, unplugged, so the ransomware cannot just wipe it. Anything connected, it will try to wipe it, but if you have copy offline, it will not. And finally, crime as a service, that's something. We saw ransomware as a service. They buy a kit, like non-smart bad guys. They buy that kit to the smart guys, and they actually spread the tool to infect you with the ransomware, and they get the cut out of the ransom you pay, and this is how it works. It's really like a pyramidal scheme. And then you get also nation state, like some from the east against someone from the west, or the north against the south. I'm not going to give any name because attribution is a really, really sensitive game, and the blame game can go, all the way around. So nations against each other, and they can use people and individual just as an entry point to anything. So we are targets. We have value, and we will be targeted.
Absolutely. That's what I say. So who is going to be specifically targeted? I know you mentioned the Americans and the Canadians because there's some value there, but who would you say generally is the targets?
Actually, it depends of the threat actor, and it depends of the goal. If this is, it could be political, it could be, following an agenda, impacting an election. We saw that in the past. Or it could be about money, raising a lot of money. We saw everybody spoke about that, the colonial pipeline stuff. That was about taking the money out. This is petrol, this is gas. There is a lot of money there. Easy target, industrial control system, block the distribution. And that's a good lever because the attacker know when you shut that down, people are gonna go in the streets. Yeah, where you want our gas? We're stuck. It's messing society.
Yep.
And that's and that's actually triggering a payment because they cannot wait. They cannot think. So that's the strategy that the attacker actually take against people. They don't care about who you are. If you are a nice person, doesn't matter. This is strategical. It's business. It's business, the criminal business.
Yeah, and then when those ones that attack critical infrastructure, and then when they pay the ransom, that's not good. That doesn't send the right message when things like that happen. So
this is right because there is two things. Once you pay, and assume that you can decrypt your stuff. Let's assume that works. If you didn't find the root cause, nothing stopped the attacker to come back the next week and say, "Ho, you didn't fix your stuff. Pay again." We're criminal. There is no service level agreement there. There is no. So yeah, and when you pay these groups, you finance the development of the next level tools, and you basically finance the attack of the next target. So if we don't stop paying, we are only gonna support the growth of the crime. So we need to stop that. I understand, some people came because I say don't pay ever. Like FBI says that too. But some say, yeah, if it's an hospital and people are dying, they need to pay to get back to life. Yeah, okay, maybe once. But once you get it, learn from that. This is why I share about the event. It's a learning case. If you are managing an hospital and you see the next hospital falling for that, ask them why. Look for the post-mortem, if they published information, how it went bad and why. Learn from it and just put the security control that can stop it. Security control, fancy word. Just put the tools in place and the strategy so as it won't happen to you.
That's a really good point, that if a hospital near you is attacked, you run a hospital, talk to those people. And if we did that more throughout all the different business types or industries, that would be very, very helpful, because you don't really see that happening where people are saying, okay, you're kind of in a very similar looking business as mine, and I just got attacked, so this is what you should do to be proactive. So that'd be great if we could ever create that kind of communication and help spreading the word that way. Because when somebody actually happens to, when it happens to them and they're telling a story, you're like, wow, it actually happened to you, so it could happen to me.
Yeah, and the way, they share some technical stuff like, firewall marketer and manufacturer, they do share something called IOC. It's called indicator of compromise, like signature, the way the attacker gets in. But that's very technical. It's not, why the architecture of the hospital failed, what was wrong, and what could have stopped. So we can be high level like that. I call it security architecture. I don't know you say that in English, architecture or architecture. Anyway,
architecture, yeah.
Okay, and the way you do that can actually stop the thing. So learn from your peers and let not this happen again.
Yep. Okay, so that next question. So can we protect ourselves? I know we just talked about communicating a little bit, but are there other ways we can protect ourselves?
This is right. And the fun part is old stuff still work. So we run into digital transformation, cloud adoption stuff. And I blame the cloud all the time. I love to blame the cloud because the cloud did introduce something marvelous, which is called the shared security model. I'm going to speak about that in the next point. But the thing is, people think that they drop the responsibility or they do a risk transfer to something else, someone else. But it's not the case. When you rent a machine or you own it, you are still in charge of securing it. So the approach of called layered defense, like an onion, you put multiple security control, like you have a firewall and you have an antivirus, and also you have a backup. So, all kind of different controls. This is still valid. It exists since the 90s, and this is still something you must do today. But because of availability and everything moving fast and has to be convenient, like we sometimes badly drop these basics. And if we would keep these basics, that will help. And finally, we spoke about XDR. XDR is definitely something to have everywhere. Like a lot of situations that I see could have been prevented with a good XDR. Because not all of them are very efficient. And it's not the only solution, XDR stuff. It's a good base. It's like, the 20% investment for 80% ROI. That will be my approach. Like start with the XDR because that's the main thing. Obviously, people should know what they have, like inventory of the things. Do you know where are your pictures? Like if you are a person and you get your computer destroyed, do you have an inventory, even in your head? Where are my files? Did I lose everything with that laptop? Or do I have a backup somewhere? That's something to know. Because, people don't think of that, but laptop, it's easily stolen in the trunk of a car. It can fall in the bath and it's destroyed. But I'm sure a lot of people type on their laptop, we're in the bath, little piece of hood at the top, and then he slide and go in the water. So, and lately, like, with the MacBooks and stuff, if it's soldered on the motherboard, like the storage, you cannot even pull it out. So if the machine doesn't boot, that's over. You cannot get the data. So now you're going to say, you should have your iCloud stuff, But then, do you want that data to be public?
The new Department of Defense's cybersecurity program, CMMC, can be very confusing and overwhelming. A3 is a cloud-based collaborative environment for an organization seeking certification. A3 builds CMMC packages and has access to a marketplace of consultants, RPOs, and assessor C3PAOs. A3 creates a roadmap for each cybersecurity requirement and helps break things down step by step. Please visit cyberdataintelligence.com/A3. Which brings us to our next thing, right? Is let's talk about the cloud. Everybody loves the cloud. It's up in the cloud somewhere.
Oh, la, 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 la. So I started to speak about the shared responsibility model.
Yeah.
It was a great concept because the key was we dropped the responsibility of running the machines and all the heavy lifting to a specialized company that know what they do. They have super POI, like power efficiency stuff. And they can have the best cost per gigahertz you can have. Amazing, great concept. Except that marketing came over it and said, it's magical. You have nothing to worry about. With your mouse, you click once and it's all going to be set up. Amazing. It's secure, safe, and cheap. Great. Well, no, it's not. It's not cheap. It's not safe. And it's not easy at all. It's even more complex because we lose a lot of visibility on the stack that we manage. So when you go cloud, and if you go, you need highly specialized people and know what you do and read the term and condition. But people don't realize that a lot of the terms and condition in the cloud services specify that you give away the right to access and use your data. And in some case, it's even used to mine information and sell you insight and intelligence on top of your data. Like businesses, they go to cloud, put the data, the finance, and then they have to pay for service to get intelligence off top of their own data. But that's quite funny because they own the data, so they own the value. So that's something, there's a lot of things like that. So it's a risk assessment. I'm not anti-cloud, it's just that there is a use case for it and a risk assessment that must be taken. If you go cloud, make sure you encrypt everything before it reaches the cloud. So when it gets breached, like every day, the data that's going to leak is going to be encrypted. And the criminal will look at it like it's just garbage. And that's cool because you don't want all your data out and then your identity stolen and all the stuff. So yeah, the
Right.
cloud could be safe in a way if you, just for a certain use case.
A little bit more as opposed to just flying blindly and trusting.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the criminals, they get all this information. What are they doing with all this data? There's data everywhere.
They do threaten you. I found you on Ashley Madison. You're gonna pay me, or I'm gonna tell your wife. Easy. That's one easy. Or the wife, I'm gonna tell your husband, because after all, it's all. Yes.
Yeah.
And no, and that was an old, but that's a great example, because that's an easy lever that can be pushed against you. When they get that data, they do reconciliation across multiple sources to build a profile against you. In the end, it can help targeting you and manipulating you. And while you don't even realize it, your freedom is taken away, a bit like Facebook in a way. Ooh, bad bitch. No, but this is what it is, And it's actually fueling identity theft. And people don't realize the amount of identity theft, and the society is not ready to help people recover. When someone managed to get an ID with your name and open a bank account as you, there is no way from the bank standpoint to know who is the right you. So you do not exist really anymore, and you have to prove you are yourself. And that's the worst, and something really disturbing from a psychological standpoint that people don't realize. And this is just about not protecting your data. It can easily happen. So that's one of the things. And it's actually fueling next attacks. Because next time you're going to have a super targeted email, because they know you, you like golf, and you like that kind of golf clubs. I don't like golf, but,
Yeah, right.
And so I'm going to send you, and I know you are on Amazon because it was on one of the leaks. So I'm going to create an email, Amazon style, with your favorite golf club and a 75% rebate on it. Oh boy, if you click now. And let's see how many people, and because it's so targeted, because I know you want it, you're going to click on it. And then I'm going to take the control of your machine. And it's an escalation, because if you are a key person in a business, I'm not targeting you, or maybe I'm targeting you, who knows? And then they do it. Like ransomware teams, the first thing they do when they did infect a network, especially the Conti group, they've been working on them in many incidents, they pull the financial data of the organization, the target, and then they set the amount of the ransom according to the cash flow of the organization, because they know they can pay that or the cybersecurity insurance amount, and they just adjust the ransom to it, so they know it's going to flow. And so these guys are very smart. So information has value, and you should protect it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you're right with that. If you're a smaller company, they're not going to tell you that the ransom's $5 million, because they know you can't afford that. They'll give you something that it might be a little bit of a stretch, but you can somehow find the money. So that's
correct.
Not good with them. Okay, so why does privacy matter here?
So you get it from the previous point. If I know everything about you, I can manipulate you. And I can manipulate you like large, from political standpoint, from your purchase standpoint, and I will take over your freedom, because I will make you believe that you wanted that thing, but you didn't want it. It's just the result of multiple signals that mix psychology and technology to make you achieve what I want to do. So that's something that you are not going to feel it. That's the magic of Facebook. It's really they manage that thing and they sell it for ads. But criminal, they can manage much nastier things. So we saw sadly the sextortion crap and all these guys, and they have no morale. These attackers are on the other side of the wall, like one of the 4 billion connected people. You have no idea. They don't work by the same rules. They have no restrictions and no limit. And they don't care if they ruin your life. So first of all, ignore them. Just never fall for that. And every time I see, sometimes I see emails like, I caught you doing that. What's that? And the nature of the human is like, what? You feel accused, and you feel it's like a betrayal of something. And it's tough. And then, the intellect take over and say, nah, that's crap. It's just like made up. And people must learn that they should not trust technology. It's sad, but we did reach a point where we must segment our brains between real life and technology. Although the pandemic brought everything virtual, we must be smart, and we must, make a big difference between what's virtual and what's not. Because in the end, you have your life out of the virtual stuff. And I say that I'm like a LinkedIn top voice, and everything is virtual on LinkedIn. And I'm well aware that this is a virtual platform. There is a side of me that you see there that's not the real me. So I have a message to share. Like, it's about cybersecurity, protecting your identity and yourself. And I do it. I use the media. I play as I play. One day they might decide that they will kick me out because this is on my Microsoft, and sometimes I complain a lot about them. So if they don't like it, it's not a public service. So they can decide tomorrow, no, you're banned from that media. We don't want to see your face anymore on that. So we have to be aware that we do not harm that stuff, and we should behave accordingly. There is a real life, and there is the virtual stuff, and we must teach our brain to keep the difference and never hurt yourself for something that is not real. So that will be the message.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think we act and think differently when we're doing things online versus in real life. I mean, I always go back to some of these scams that we fall for online, where let's say you get the lottery email, you won the lottery, and the only thing you need to do is send me the money for the taxes, and then we're going to send you all the winnings. So you're thinking, whoa, this is fantastic. But if somebody came up to you and said, hey, listen, I'm going to give you this treasure box, and the only thing you need to do is give me $1,000. I'm going to go down the street, I'm going to get a key made, and then I'm going to come back, and there's $10 million inside. You would think the person was nuts. You would never even have that conversation. But for some reason, when we see things online, I don't know why there's like a sense that doesn't kick in for us, that we don't question the scams as if it was happening right in front of us.
That's right. I mean, the natural defense mechanism of us as living animals is not triggered by the virtual stuff. So we must keep the distance and stay aware on that. So it's a whole training that we need. We need awareness, and we need to teach people that they can ignore stuff as well. It's like phone call. We get a phone call. It's fine to ignore and say no also, because we, like, as nice people, always like to say yes. And when we say no, we feel like, we are not good with the people that ask something. But in the virtual world, first of all, like, there are billions of people there. So even if you say no, who cares? And do the things the way you like. If you initiate something, do it. If you did not initiate, just, if you don't like and don't feel like it, just drop it. Yep. But that's a bit aside of the XDR discussion.
Yeah, that's okay. It happens sometimes. All right, so we're at the end of our questions here. Is there anything else you would like to add with the audience before we go?
Well, I hope they look into the topics. They get some learning. There's some great resources out there. Read about the news, just high level. We do share, like, the video you do are amazing. We need to tell the kids that the cyber world isn't safe, that they should not trust it unless it's connected to something real. Like, if they speak to a friend that they know, that's fine. If they speak to someone and don't know, so that we should help them, because they are the next generation. Me, you, it's already done. We're there, fine, okay. But for the young ones, they will just grow in it, tablet, connected and stuff, and they will not have a chance to grow their human defense mechanism in real life as much as we could do. So they have no reference on which they can defend themselves. So it's even more challenging, because when we speak protect yourself, they don't see the threat on the computer, on a tablet, or a game, because they didn't feel it. So that's a big challenge, and we try to.
That's right. Talk to the kiddos. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you very, very much, Alex, for your time and all your great information. You really did give us a lot of good stuff to think about. So I thank you for that. And thank you, everybody, for watching. And we hope to see you on the next episode of 123 CMMC. Take care.
Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by A3, a CMMC cloud-based collaborative environment for an organization seeking certification, otherwise known as an OSC, to build CMMC packages and share with a marketplace of consultant RPOs and assessor C3PAOs.